Hey there, and welcome to episode 52 of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. In today's episode, I am chatting with the amazing KYLIE all about how to grow your email list fast without social media or paid ads. KYLIE is a visibility and email marketing strategist helping female business owners grow and monetize their email list fast, serving them through her membership, the Email Growth Club. She loves to teach simple relationship-based strategies. Think summits, bundles, freebie swaps, and more, and believes that business and email marketing gets to be fun. She's also a podcast host and a boy mama of two, Spencer and Samuel. I've been in Kelly's world for a couple of years now, and I'm also a member of her Email Growth Club too, and just love all of her tips and strategies and how generous she is with everything that she shares. If you are just starting out growing your list or you're tired of playing the social algorithm game, working hard for very little return, and want a simpler and more fun way to grow your email list fast, you are going to love this episode. So go and grab a notebook and pen and let's dive in. Welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur, the podcast for mums with an online business who are ready to take back their time, home, business and self so they can restore the balance and thrive, both at home and at work, without feeling like they have to choose between the two. I'm your host, Sarah Dew, life and biz coach for mompreneurs. I'm also a mum, stepmom, wife, introvert, breast cancer survivor, and your mentor for making a change for the better. I've learned how to go from surviving to thriving and unapologetically create a business I love and the life I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Because being an unapologetic mompreneur doesn't mean that we're selfish or that we don't care about others. It simply means that we are not afraid to show up as our true, authentic selves, to step into our purpose, do what we know is right for ourselves and the ones we love, and take the steps we need to take to make our dream life and business a reality. Join me each week where I'll be sharing all of my best tips and strategies, plus the occasional dose of tough but gentle love to help you feel empowered, motivated, and confident to take action so that you can become the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. So, are you ready to unapologetically create a business and life you love? Let's do this. Hey KYLIE, welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Oh my goodness.
Oh, me too. So excited. And just before we jump on, sharing that I've been a fan of yours for ages. I love your podcast and now a member of your email club, which was the Spotlight Club, wasn't it? And that's now the email club. And there's so much goodness in there about all of the things that I know you're going to be sharing with us today of how to grow your email list fast without paid ads or using social media. And that is definitely something that I know I'm totally on board with. And I know that so many of our listeners are going to appreciate out there as well. So just in case nobody has met you before, first time of connecting with you, do you want to just share who you are, what you do, and your journey to where you've got to now?
Oh gosh, yes. I love this question, but at the same time, it's always like, where do you start, right? It's the hardest thing. So yes, my name is KYLIE. I call myself an email marketing strategist, but it sounds so boring. Like who wants to be an email marketing strategist? So really what you need to know, anyone tuning in, is that I help business owners grow their email list fast without social media or paid ads. Mainly because I started my online business after the pandemic. I was a wedding photographer before that. And COVID, pandemic, weddings cancelled. And I was like, well, this is perfect. I have two little kids. So I was like, well, now I get to create something that's more flexible, that I get to, really create the life I want to create, not knowing what that looked like. And so I was like, oh, I'll start an online business. And then how do you do that when no one knows about you and you don't even really know what you want to do? Like, where do you even get started? So I knew that I needed to grow an email list or an audience first, because I thought, well, when I figure out what I want to do, I need to have people there that know about me and that want to buy things from me and work with me so I can put food on the table. And so, I started playing around in relationship-based strategies, which we'll talk about today. So summits and bundles and freebie swaps and things, because I'm not a fan of social media and I had no money for paid ads. So that's kind of where it all started. So I grew my email list and then I figured out, oh, I actually love doing it this way. Let's teach other people to do it this way, that social media is optional and that you don't have to pay to play, as you will. So that's kind of where it started. And I guess in the way to get there, in the journey getting there, it's been great. Nothing's ever just sunshine and rainbows. I'm an open book with all this stuff. We'll get into anything that you guys want to know, but it has enabled me to be the mum that goes and picks the boys up from school, or to live life on my own terms, and that's worth it all, right? That's what I wanted. So yeah, it's kind of where it all started and where I am now, I guess.
Brilliant. I love that. And I love how when we first start out, how it all unfolds and leads us to somewhere that we weren't necessarily expecting to. And I love the way that you've just tapped in of what's worked and what's felt right for you as you've gone along, and then allowed that to lead the direction of where you're going. And you're just so generous in all the things that you share in terms of being visible and doing things your own way. And you just says the essence of building a life around your business, around the life that you have with your family, and being able to do all those mum things, because that's why we start our businesses in the first place, particularly as mums, isn't it? To be able to do all of that. So I think that that's great. And the whole social media and no paid ads, especially when we're first starting out and not having money to invest in that sort of thing, or even having a clue about how to get started with it, that I think, and because I know you're an introvert like me as well too, aren't you? And having that being visible, putting yourself out there when you're an introvert is super, super scary. And so like the strategies that you share with bundles and summits and all of the things that you've done, and I've participated in one of your bundles as well, which was recently, which was so much fun. And just all of those strategies, it just takes away that pressure, doesn't it? And it just makes business so much easier and so much more fun.
Oh, absolutely. And it's honestly how I make friends now as an adult, right? Like, so all my friends are all across the world, which is kind of ridiculous because I'm in Australia, which is so far from anyone. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, we get to connect, we get to actually build these businesses alongside each other. And we're all going through the same journey, sometimes in different ways, but we all have the same kind of challenges, right? So it just feels so much better than like putting pressure on ourselves to dance in front of our phone and point
Oh,
at
yeah.
things or like any of that stuff. It's just, it makes so much more sense, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just such a great way to get out and started than having all that pressure of putting yourself out there and sticking your head above the parapet. You can just do things behind the scenes, connect with what works for you. And it's easier for you to just really hone in on who your ideal client is and who to work with to actually bring that target person in, isn't it? It took me a long time to realize that. And initially, when I first started, was out there doing all of the things, trying everything, but was there everything to nobody to everything, kind of sharing everything and not really sure on what I was doing. And I didn't really figure that out and hone it in on drawing in my ideal client until I started doing these kind of collaborations and ways that you teach all of your students and members and everything of how to do. So it's so tempting when we go out there to start with, and everybody's telling you to be on social media, to dance around on TikTok and all that stuff. But actually, we know that email list is, and having that email list is so important. And that is actually more important than doing all that showing up and all the hours I wasted in the early days on Instagram and everything else instead of working on my email list. So why now do you think, particularly like in 2024, that your email list is so important right now?
I think there's a few reasons. I think one of the main reasons I think is that we have this direct connection with our clients, right? With our ideal clients. When we build an email list, yes, we need to make sure we have good subject lines and that we're hitting the inbox, but we can press send and be pretty damn sure that that email is going to be seen by our ideal client. We're not having to like rely on algorithms or wonder why only 90 people out of my 4,000 saw a post or whatnot. So I think it's that direct line of communication to the people on our email list. And then also I love the fact that it then becomes like an asset for our business. So it's actually something that we own. So no one can really take it away from us. It's not going to like go down overnight. And I know I sound like I'm just like really not, all against social media. If you love social media, like do it, but please just build your email list at the same time because yeah, it can't be taken away from us. And it just gives you that sense of security then that you're building something that you're kind of in control of. And full disclosure, I'm a complete control freak. I'll control everything if I can. So like for me, that feels really good.
Brilliant. It's such good company as well, because I'm exactly the same. I'm a total control freak. And I know that at some point I am ready to start outsourcing stuff in my business, but I just can't quite do it yet because I love doing all the things. I love having control of everything. And I know that I need to start doing that at some point. But you're right, that email list does give us that security. It does give us that connection. And we know that people are there that are receiving our emails because they want to receive them as well, aren't they? We're not just putting the stuff out there hoping and praying that someone is going to come across us and find us. they've actually
Mhm.
usually opted in from a freebie or a summit or a bundle or something like that. They're already that little bit warmer. They already have kind of partway curiosity of whether or not we're the person for them and want to get to know us better. And email's just
Mhm.
so much more personal, isn't it? That you have that connection, like you say. And I've got so frustrated with like Instagram, particularly, have that love-hate relationship with it, and then switch to not getting any reach on there and spending and pouring hours and hours into that, to then thinking, okay, I'll start nurturing my Facebook group, and I've got a great community in there. But it's so frustrating that you see, like you said, I've got 815 something members in there, but then I see that I get a 3 people post reach, and it's just like, oh, come on. Yet my
Yeah.
email subscribers, 4,500, and my open rates are 45-50%. And it's great. And I know that
Mhm.
they want to hear from me. So I totally get that. It's just, email is so powerful, and we're just not making the most of it, are we? I don't think.
I love that you said too, like they want to hear from you. Like I always used to remind myself, because at the start it's nerve-wracking, right? Like sending that first email, I was so nervous. I still remember when I hit send and I was like, oh my gosh, they're all going to leave. And I'm sure there's mistakes in there. And I've read it 100 times and it was scary. But I always like to remind myself, yeah, it's permission based. So they are almost like, I envisage my list. This sounds really weird, but I envisage my list sitting in a room, putting their hand up, saying like, KYLIE, please email me, because that is literally what they've done. So for anyone listening that struggles with that almost imposter syndrome, or like, I don't want to interrupt them. I don't want to get in the way. I don't. And I was that person. Like, I don't want to be that person. Just remember, they've opted in. They've said, yes, please email me. I want to hear from you. And if you can keep that in your mind, it gets so much easier to hit send. So yeah, I love that you brought that up, Sarah, because yeah, it's definitely like they want to be there. They want to get your emails, which feels so much better than just trying to get people's attention on social media.
Oh my goodness, so true. And I can remember when I very first hit my very first email, and I literally wanted to run under the table and hide and just see what was going, and I was terrified. And then when I went through the whole rebrand last year from a simple and contented life to the unapologetic mompreneur, and that first email went out, knowing that, a good like 70-80% of my email list that I had built probably wouldn't be interested, and I would get so many unsubscribes, that I literally did the same again. I wanted to go and run and hide under the table. But I was amazed at the
Mm.
number of people that have stayed, the amazing women that have stayed on my list, even, and actually had emails back of how they're loving the fact that I have niched down and that I'm sharing my journey for it. And it is incredible. It's really, really surprised me. And I love that you share about the just picturing all the people in the room going, yes, please, I want to hear from you. Because I think that really does make such a difference, of that mindset shift of, being on our list is a privilege. They're doing it because they want to connect with us. They want to hear from us. And we get to share the things that we offer, that we know that we can help them with. And I just think that's so, so powerful. So let's
Yeah,
dive into
absolutely.
it. How can we grow our email list fast without ads or socials? And I know you've got some amazing, just different strategies that you use that have been so, so powerful. So do you want to just share all of the goodness on that?
Of course. Oh my goodness. And so you'll know all these being in the membership. So this is going to be no surprise to you. But I think this year, the things that I've seen work the best, number one would have to be digital bundles. So if anyone's listening and they don't know what a bundle is, literally it is, think of it like a giveaway. A host curates a digital bundle where they'll curate and invite collaborators to be a part of it. All those collaborators give a paid, valuable resource to the bundle for free, so that anyone that's coming along the bundle will sign up. The host gets all those email addresses, but then people that have signed up can go and sign up to the individual ones that really speak to them. So everybody is, it's a win-win. Everyone's leveraging each other's audiences. We all grow our email lists. And there's been like a resurgence, right? They're kind of popular at the moment. There's a little flurry of them, because I think people have realized this year just how fun it is to like build relationships and collaborate with people like this. It takes no time at all. You literally have to have the product ready, sure, but you literally fill out a form and promote it, and that's all you have to do as a contributor. Um, so that I think just being in bundles like that has given myself and a lot of the members in the club, in the membership, the biggest wins. The main thing with that is to make sure that it's a bundle that your ideal client would be interested in. So make sure you're putting in a resource that, will attract your ideal client onto your list. It is something that speaks to them, not just a broad, like, live your best life bundle and it's just a random thing, right? We want to make sure we're attracting the right people onto your list. So digital bundles is definitely kind of number one at the moment. I also love doing freebie swaps. So like it sounds, it's literally like if we were doing a freebie swap, Sarah would share my freebie to her email list and I'd share hers to my email list. And then literally our audiences sign up for each other's freebies and we both get to grow our email list that way. And I think for introverts, especially, it just feels really nice. It's just more of a personal, low key way to grow your email list, kind of like on the side. Like it's kind of this like sly, subtle, surprising way. But I've had some really big gains and growth in just doing that and really deepening that relationship then with the person that you're doing a freebie swap with. So I will say with that, again, making sure that the person that you do it with or that you contact, that you pitch, also serves your ideal clients. We want to make sure that audience of theirs has your perfect people in it. I will also say I'm a big believer in collaboration over competition, right? So I've done freebie swaps with competitors that literally do almost the same thing as me, but I'm confident that there's probably people on my list that related to them better. And there's probably people on their list that related to me better. So in a sense, there's plenty to go around. So I don't think we need to worry so much about competition or anything like that. But the main thing is my ideal client in their audience? Yes. Does it feel good? Are you excited to do it? Yes. Then that's probably another great way to build your list fast as well.
Brilliant. They're both so much fun ways to do it, aren't they, as well? Because I started out with freebie swaps when I very first started my business. And then I just kind of completely forgot about them. And I'm only just looking back at them again this year and thinking, why have I stopped doing that? Because I really enjoyed it. And it is a great way. And I totally agree with you. I am so for the collaboration over competition. I can't bear all of that competitiveness out there because there is so much to go around and there's enough for everybody, isn't there? And your ideal client, what resonates with you may not resonate with someone else and vice versa, and that is okay. I think in the early days we just want everybody to like us and we want everybody to like what we have to share and knowing that we're helping everybody, but actually it's okay to really drill down and just draw in that ideal client. And I'm so glad that you shared about when you were going out and doing those things to grow our email list, that we're actually doing it with the right bundle, with the right collaboration in mind, so that we're drawing in the right ideal clients. Because that's definitely a mistake I made in the early days, that I wanted to just get out there and grow, but I was bringing in all the wrong people. And it wasn't it was only really until I rebranded last year that I actually started honing in on that, and it has made such a difference. And the power of those, like the collaborations, the summits, the bundles, and the freebie swaps, you think if we have our blog posts and our long form content, we put it on Pinterest, we wait for Google and it all to bring in, and that can bring in subscribers. It can trickle here on there, and maybe, like 5, 10 a week, or 20 a week, whatever it brings in. But when we do those collaborations, we can bring in hundreds in one week, can't we? I mean, I joined you for your birthday bash this year and I got over 200 subscribers in one week. And they were all my ideal client. And it's just so powerful. And as well as you gaining, you know that you're getting further spread out there to help people that are waiting to hear from you as well.
Yes, 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 yes. And we get to connect like this as well, right? So then, you're in a bundle with somebody that serves your ideal client, and then you get to know them. And then it's like, what else do you want to do together? Let's do something else. Let's go on our
Yeah.
podcast. So it leads to more things, which is just so
Absolutely.
exciting. I will say hosting something is like pouring petrol on the whole thing. So if you have the capacity to host a bundle or host a summit or host an event yourself, because you get to keep all the email addresses, like it's pretty amazing. So I hosted the first time I hosted anything was 2 summits in 2022. And both summits back then got about 600 people each. So I literally went, the first summit that I did, I had no idea what I was doing. I was a complete introvert, like we've talked about. Like it was so out of my comfort zone. And I was like, well, let's just give this a go. What's the worst that can happen? Which is kind of like my like go big or go home attitude. And the first summit that I did, my email list went from 0 to 600 people. And I was like, like that's incredible. But since then, as I've gotten more experience and I've got more connections, it just gets bigger and bigger. So like I've had bundles that have almost 3,000 subscribers sign up for them. So adding like 3,000 people, like my birthday bash was 2,700 from memory. So like that's in one event, so yeah, if you have the capacity, like it is a lot of work. I won't say it's not, like it is a lot of work, but if you have capacity to do it, it can definitely speed things up a lot as well.
Brilliant. That's insane, like conversion numbers as well for such a short amount of time. It's amazing. And having in my own bundle is something that I wanted to do for a very long time. And I've spent a lot of time in the background and signing up for bundles and seeing how people do things and everything. And I know that's exactly what you teach in your membership as well. So that is my goal for this next coming term from September to December, is that I want to host my own bundle October time. So I'm a little bit nervous, well out of my comfort zone as an introvert, but I can't wait. I'm so excited because I can see that I've seen the results that it brings, not just as, as participating in it, but a lot of them, especially you, are so transparent in what the results are so that we know what we can expect, that it's hugely exciting. So yeah, I would just, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to dive in
Oh
and
my
do that.
gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to support you to do that. That'll be so
Oh,
exciting and
yeah.
so fun.
So let's talk about that. How do you, if you're thinking about actually, I'd like to start hosting one, or I want to have a go at doing a few first to see, or dip my toes in the water, or even just freebie swaps, how do we go about finding them and actually finding the right ones?
So I think the first thing I would say is you have to be really clear on who you want to serve, right? So that's something we both talked about already, is being really clear on your ideal client and who that person is. Because without that piece, we don't know who to pitch or where to go, right? So be really clear on that. When you're wanting to be in bundles or summits or those types of collaborations, there are Facebook groups and things out there. I won't name them because they do change all the time, but if you search on Facebook, you'll find them. And then people are often asking for contributors or people to be a part of them, things like that. There's also websites as well. There's like, I think there's like Summit Search Directory or Speakers Summit Search, like they're all over the place. So just if you simply Google, you'll find some places that have opportunities. We just almost have to open our eyes to them. I think that it's like anything in life, isn't it? Like I remember when I wanted to fall pregnant, all I would see was pregnant women everywhere. It's like one of those things. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to set my intention, I want to be in bundles, I want to be in summits, and start looking, you will definitely come across them. A little plug for I want to say our membership. We call it ours, Sarah. But the Email Growth Club, like that's what we do in there, right? Is that I'm curating a database full of these opportunities that I get personally invited to, that I add, or the ones that I see online as well. So it's like a one-stop shop. So of course you can come and join us in there. But then if you don't want to be in a membership and you don't want to be bundles, go down the bundles or summit route, if you're thinking more freebie swaps, I would say just start looking, listening to podcasts. Even if you are hanging out on Instagram and scrolling, watching TV with the kids and you're scrolling, just be looking for people that also serve your ideal client. That's the number one thing that you're looking for. Watch a few Instagram stories, see if you connect with them, see if you think you like their vibe and you might be a good match. And then whenever you're going to approach somebody, regardless of what it's for, a podcast, a freebie swap, whatever, you want to get to know them first. You want to make the pitch personal because you're going to get so much better results doing it that way. So I always follow for a couple of weeks, drop into their DMs, just encourage them, like comment on their stories, all before the pitch ever comes. Because I mean, who likes to get cold pitched anyway? No one. So yeah, just make sure it's as personal as can be, and always be thinking like, what's in it for them? So when you're pitching anything, like how are you going to provide value to their audience? What have you got that'll help them grow their email list? Because it's all swings and roundabouts. It'll come back to you as well.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with what you put out there is what comes back. Absolutely. And just taking that time to do that bit of research and connecting with them first as well. And it just, because we just like, we don't like those cold pitches and DMs. They've not even looked at what it is that you do. They've just read your bio on Instagram, and then it's like, hey, loving the work that you do, and that's it. And you know that it's just they haven't really invested that time to make sure it's a really, really good fit. And also it's like it's a two-way thing as well, isn't it? It's to know that you just work out that you can resonate with the person, that you get on with them, that you are ideal aligned, whether or not they've got the same audience, or they've got, your ideal client is hanging out in their audience, or that work up front, it makes it easier in the long run, doesn't it? And you thank yourself afterwards. And absolutely, if you're not in a membership yet and you want support, totally go and join your membership, and we make sure the link's in the show notes. But it is awesome. And one of the reasons that really made me jump on board was the fact that you do that work, or you do a lot of the hard work for us. You go out and search and see what's coming up and you put it in there, and then we can just go in and scroll and see what there is to put out and offer, and jump in. And it just makes it so much easier, especially when you're just first starting out and you've got no idea where to look and you're really nervous of what's right and not. So I love that you offer that for the members. That's just amazing. So let's carry on, and like the next step, we figured out that we know we want to do a freebie swap, or we know we want to be in a summit or a bundle. We've looking at and we've found a few that we want to do. How do we then, what is the secret to creating the perfect digital resource for those opportunities, so that we can then know that it leads to our paid offers and that we're actually doing something in the right direction rather than just putting something out there for the sake of it?
I love that you asked this question, because how many times have we created something, and I've done this before in the past, and it's just like throwing spaghetti at the wall. And not that that's bad. We have to start somewhere, but I think especially being mompreneurs, especially having kids and juggling all the things and not having enough time to do anything, right? I think it's really important to make sure that the time we're spending on this stuff is moving the needle in the right direction. So the one thing that I always tell everyone, my members or anyone that asks, is to work backwards. So I think a lot of the times we're thinking in the other direction. We're like, okay, I need to create a digital product. It's going to help this person, and I want to create a private podcast, and it's going to be about this. But there's no intention about where it goes. So I always like to work backwards. So, as an example, I always want people to end up in my membership, right? The Email Growth Club, I'm obsessed with it. That's where I want people to be. And so it's for women that want to grow their email list fast. So I always ask myself, okay, so if that's where I want them to end up, what do I need to create so they're ready for that? Right. So they need to know that social media is optional. They need to know that there's other ways, that you don't have to do it the way that everybody says you have to do it. So I have like a collaborations guide, 11 collaborations that you can do without social media or paid ads. So it's literally, they go through that guide, then it's a really easy, like, hey, if you liked that, and if you want to be in bundle summits, if you want to grow your email list this way, come and join the membership. So then it's a really easy next step ask. So I think it's always that working backwards, so that when you then go to actually invite them into something, it doesn't feel like you're selling. It doesn't feel like you're pushing something on them. It's not this random thing out of nowhere. It's like the natural next step for them to take. And I would also love to add, don't get stuck on the container. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, should it be a PDF? Should it be a private podcast? Should it be a course? Should it be a masterclass? Should it be, what should it be? Like, don't worry. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it leads to where you want them to go. And I will say, if you are going to be in a bundle or something, a collaboration where there's a lot of people involved, and depending on your ideal client as well, but if it is anyone like Sarah's and I's, like busy women, you want it to be quick to digest, quick for them to go through. Don't make them watch a 90-minute masterclass, because we haven't got time for that, right? So like, think about your ideal client that way as well, and make sure it's easy for them to actually consume.
Brilliant. That is such great advice, because like it's easy to think, oh, I just need to create something, anything, but is it actually then leading to somewhere for them? And doing that first, like what is the working backwards and what is that first step for them that's going to get them in, can help you then know that they are on the right path, and it leaves them curious of like what is next. So that is really good advice, of just starting there and looking backwards and working backwards so that you've got that end goal in mind, and also taking into consideration what, you know, who your audience is, because absolutely mine are exactly the same. They're like, you know, Lou and I, and exactly what I do. I listen to podcasts on the go and trainings, even if it's a masterclass video, you can bet that I've got my phone in my back pocket with my headphones in, walking around the house listening rather than watching. So it is getting into touch with, isn't it? Absolutely. That is amazing. So just before we wrap up, thank you so much for all of the fab tips that you shared. It's brilliant. And I just love how you're always just so transparent, so open, so honest about and sharing like all of your struggles and everything. And it just really just gives us that confidence and empowerment that we can do it too. And we don't have to spend hours chasing that social media algorithm. And like you say, if you love social media, go for it. But if you're an introvert or you've got that love-hate relationship and you want to grow your emails, then bundle summits, freebies, and all of the stuff that you do and teach is just the absolute way to go. Before we wrap up, I always have one question I like to ask all of my guests on the show. Before we do that, just as a closing thought, is there any like one closing thought, you know, one other tip or anything that you would like to just finish up as a final thought?
Oh, I would have to be, don't let fear hold you back. I think there's a lot of times, even in my journey, where it's been like, I wasn't certain. So I paused and I was like, oh, I might just research that a bit more. I might just look into that. And that is just like, that's how I procrastinate. That's how I don't take any action. So if you're listening to this and if you're like, oh, I think I'm interested, but I'm a bit unsure, I'm a bit uncertain, don't let fear hold you back. Just reach out to one person. It all just starts with one person, one action. Start with a friend, start with somebody that will say yes, and get your feet wet. And just know that we've all started there, and it gets easier the more that you do this kind of stuff.
Amazing. Love it. And then the question that I always like to ask everybody who comes on the show is, what does being an unapologetic mompreneur mean to you? And how are you showing up every day unapologetically, both as a mum and as the boss of your business?
Gosh, I love this question. And can I say, I've listened to your podcast and so many of the answers are incredible. I was like, how can I make mine just as incredible as everybody else? Oh my goodness. And let's just see. So I think when it comes to being a parent, and this is still a work in progress, but to me, it means kind of letting go of the guilt, right? So I want to be able to show up for my kids when they need me or when I want to show up for them, right? Without always thinking like, oh, I need to be working on my business, or I feel guilty, it's hard. I mean, that's still the thing that I struggle with the most, missing school things because I want to do something on my business, or making that and not doing something on my business and feeling bad the other way around as well. Like it goes both ways. So I think that's my biggest and it's not really something we're proud of yet, but I'm working on being unapologetic there and letting go of that guilt. And I think when it comes to the business, I'm really proud of, like you have mentioned a few times, being really transparent. And I think showing the boys, I've got 2 boys, they're 3 and 6. So showing them that, hey, you get to actually do something you enjoy for work, and it gets to be fun. It gets to be whatever you want it to be. And then being really transparent with my audience as well is something that I'm really proud of. So that was a long-winded answer. I don't know if it was good as the others, but there it is.
No, I love it. It's perfect. And it's just like you say, that I think sometimes it's just giving ourselves that grace and knowing that it is a work in progress. It's being unapologetic and doing things the way that feels right for us and our family, and taking those steps without worrying about what other people think. It's not something that we just suddenly wake up one day and it's there and you wake up going, I'm unapologetic, I've got it. It's not at all. And I'm still, I'm 6-7 years into my business, and it's taken me 5.5 years to actually turn that around with my brand to being what it is now, and actually giving myself the permission to be unapologetic, and it's still a learning progress for me in every day as well. So I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. And it is absolutely one of the reasons why I just love being in your world, of everything that you do in your business and the way that you share. So thank you. So if anybody would love to connect, and they absolutely should, go and connect with you. And I know you've got a freebie and you've got obviously your email growth membership. Where can people connect, reach out, and how can they go and join the membership if they want to find out more about growing the email list fast?
Oh, I love this. And thank you. You're making me blush then. I'm glad that this is a podcast. So yeah, just head over to my website. So it's just KYLIEKELLY.com. You'll see on the homepage, if you scroll down, there's the collaborations guide I mentioned before. So you can grab that. The email growth club is linked there as well. And Sarah mentioned she'll put the link in the show notes. So that's there too. So yeah, it's just all on my website. And although I was totally dissing social media, I do hang out in my Instagram DMs because I do love DMs. So if you send me a voice note, if you have a question, just KYLIE KELLY on Instagram, and I will reply. It might not be straight away because I'm not in there all the time, but I do hang out there quite often.
Perfect. We will absolutely make sure that all of those links are in the show notes. So thank you so much. It's been absolutely amazing. I could talk with you for ages about this topic, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Yeah, awesome. And that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for listening or watching on YouTube if you have been. And I look forward to chatting with you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to leave me a rating and a review so that other mompreneurs can find this podcast too. Here's to unapologetically becoming the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.